Hi everyone, I'm Alan from Newlands Nursery and this is today's 5-Minute Friday. If you've never watched this series of videos before, this is something you can do in the garden that makes all the difference. You don't always have to work hours and hours and hours to make a difference. In fact, if you did 5 minutes every single week, you'd be amazed what you could do. And you'll see, we do this really quickly. So what we're doing today is planting up a container with some Calibrachoa. Now, if you've seen me making videos over the last week or two, I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing that right. If I was to say, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it doesn't really matter. You all know what I mean. Plus the words in the descriptions, so you can just copy and paste it. So I'm going to plant this up. We've got 10 plants here. I'm actually not going to plant them all in here. I'm going to go for 5 or 7. So we go for odd numbers when we plant up containers generally. So 5 or 7 is what I'm going to go for, and I'm going to judge that as I go. So the first thing we need to do is put a bit of compost in here. Just using a standard multi-purpose compost, which I'm going to top almost all the way to the top. If you haven't done many containers before or hanging baskets before, don't fill them all the way to the top. What can happen if you fill them all the way to the top is that when you water it, a lot of the water will just wash over the side. What I also do is tap it down on the table and then top it up if it sinks too much. That gets rid of any air gaps and it means when you do water it's not going to sink too much. Okay, so I really like quite bright colours, so in this range we've got yellows, we've got golds, we've got pinks, purples, reds. So to begin with, what I'm going to do is pick a central colour. So for me, I'm going to go for this nice red one, and then I'm going to build around that. And red goes really well with white, so I'm going to stick a white next to it, and already it looks good. Plus, let's go for a nice pink just here, and then we've got one called Glamorous, which is pink with a burgundy centre. I'm going to put that opposite, and then we'll have a little bit of a change. We've got white here. Let's put a nice lemony gold one here. So that's 5 plants in there. There is no good reason you wouldn't go, if we take these 2 blue, we've got petite blue and blue, that you wouldn't actually fit 7 in there, and therefore that's going to fill over a lot quicker. So if you're not very patient, or you've got a barbecue or a wedding or something coming up, go for a few more. Loads of people buy plants from us that they're going to plant up for weddings, for their garden and stuff like that. So go for a few more. You'll notice what I've done is I haven't planted them right next to the edge, because I want it sort of to fill over, grow in amongst each other, and then come over the side. I think 7's going to work really well in this. Any more than that, it will fill over slightly quicker, but not to any degree. And you might as well save these, add them to another container or something like that. So now to plant them. I'll do the first one nice and slow for you. So what we're looking to do is, if I don't tip the plants over, we want them at about this level in the compost. We need to make a hole so we can put the plant in, so it's going to land about that. We don't want it above the compost, and we don't want it miles below, obviously. So about here is right. So we make a hole in the compost. You can use a dibber, but nice bit of fresh compost is not going to hurt you. So just push that in. Don't push it really hard down, and you want it to sit around there. It's as simple as that. Then all you have to do is make your way round, and you don't need to see me do it, so I'll do it nice and quickly. We're just literally making our way around and planting out. Exactly where you had it doesn't matter too much. Remember, these plants are going to grow, and they're going to grow quite quickly, especially a beautiful day today. The weather we're having today, these are going to fill over and start to look like a almost complete and settled container within 2-3 weeks with no issue at all. Okay, already I think that looks good. Now, with a lot of plants plug plants, I've also picked these, look, for when we're doing a video. If they were all green, you're not going to see what I'm going for. So I've picked these ones out of the trays because they're flowering. Very often, if you buy them from our nursery, we would have deadheaded them or cut them back so they bush out. So there is no harm in you taking the flower out. What that would do is help the plant grow a little bit quicker. So you could just take that flower out. But something like a Calibrachoa, they flower and flower and flower, and they just keep on flowering. So personally, I'd probably leave it with these plants, but it's completely up to you. Then all we have to do is water it, give it a good water, and make sure the water soaks all the way down into the container. And depending what the weather's like, if it stays as beautiful as this, as warm as this, especially nighttime temperatures is what we're worried about, then you can just carry on. You can leave them outside. But if you're worried about frosts, these won't take a frost, so make sure you bring them in. Protect them from any frosts. When we get to the middle of June, you're unlikely, especially here in Essex, to get frosts, so they can stay outside. But conservatory or greenhouse for the first few weeks, we're in the end of April now, is absolutely ideal. As always with our 5 Minute Friday, if you've got any questions at all, get in contact. We're here to help. See you soon.